What's up, everyone? Tera Roberts here with your free agency deep cuts for week 2. Waivers have run, someone outbid you, and now you're stuck trying to figure out what's left, but I'm here to help get you by. We'll start off at the quarterback position, and a great deep option for this week is Teddy Bridgewater. Against the Giants, Bridgewater was 28 for 36. That's a 77.8 completion rating, 264 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And he's got a juicy matchup this week against the Jags, who gave up a 24 fantasy point performance to Tyrod Taylor last week. Bridgewater is without his star receiver, Jerry Jeudy, but Tim Patrick will step up to the plate and be a solid fill-in. There is a chance of rain, so do pay attention to that. Moving on to running backs, and I've got a couple of guys for you this week. First up is CORDARRELLE Patterson. There was nothing super special about his performance last week against Philadelphia in week 1. He had 7 carries for 54 yards and 2 receptions for 13 yards, but in a pinch, Patterson is the RB2 right now, and when he was on the field, he was productive, and he's got good pass catching upside. And for one more option at running back, I'm gonna double down this week. Last week, I advocated for adding DAMIEN Williams, and I'm just crazy enough to do it again. In last week's game against the Rams, he simply wasn't productive on the ground, but it's the PPR upside that makes him a good deep waiver add here. He caught 4 of 5 targets and was on the field for 43% of snaps and is still only 7% rostered in Yahoo. Now, let's head over to the wide receivers. I've got quite a few guys, so I'll give you the quick facts on my potential deep waiver adds here. First up, Van Jefferson. It's very simple with Jefferson. He's the 3rd receiver on a highly productive offense facing an Indianapolis team that just did not have a good game against Seattle last week. He caught 2 of 3 targets for 1 touchdown and 80 yards. He's just got that big play capability that makes him a constant threat. Another great option is Cedrick Wilson. Michael Gallup is down with an injury, and yet his replacement, Cedrick Wilson, is still not rostered in most leagues. Now, perhaps that's because people think that the targets will go to the tight ends, and we'll get to that later. But Wilson will see extra time on the field and could be a candidate for increased targets. Next up, we've got KJ Osborn. KJ Osborn's production last week was incredibly surprising. 7 receptions for 76 yards. And to be fair, we have no idea if he'll repeat it again, but the Vikings are facing Arizona in what could be a very high-scoring game, so Osborn will have a shot to repeat his performance. Now, the last receiver I'm going to talk about he isn't super low rostered, but he's just low rostered enough that he's likely available in your league. And he's someone who's been known to be very productive. Who's the guy? Sammy Watkins. I get it. I know why he has a low roster percentage. It's because he's known to be a boom or bust player. He booms in week 1 and then he just simply disappears. But last week wasn't a typical Sammy Watkins boom. He was okay, he was usable, he was flexible, and he came out of the game healthy, and that's huge. There's no reason that he can't be on the field for 80% of snaps again this week. And then moving on to tight ends, remember that high-powered offense that I talked about earlier, that little team in Dallas? Well, another player that could benefit from the absence of Gallup is Dalton Schultz. Schultz actually saw more targets and snaps than Blake Jarwin last week, and he could be a prime candidate for an increased role, and he is still very available in most leagues. He's a great option this week. And finally, we've got one more sneaky play at tight end, and that's David NJOKU. The thing about NJOKU is that he's a very talented tight end. He just struggles to stay healthy, and Cleveland has ample options at tight end. But he was on the field for 59% of snaps. He caught 3 of 5 targets for 76 yards. He's healthy, and he's facing the Texans this week. So that wraps things up for this week's free agency deep cuts. If you're in a pinch, I hope these options help carry you to victory. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your lineups this week, and I'll see you again next week.